Hello and welcome to The View from 4 Feet and 3 Inches. I'm your host, Cassidy Huff, and today I am wearing a black tank top. I'm holding a pink microphone. I'm a white woman with blonde hair, shoulder-length blonde hair. I'm wearing a silver necklace and black glasses. And I'm sitting on a gray couch with a gold and green pillow beside me. There is also a light bookshelf behind me. So I'm just going to hop right into this one without much introduction because I know that once everybody sees the title of this one, they're going to panic a little bit. So calm down. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. I will go into the backstory of why my service dog Champ needs surgery, how we figured it out, the appointment that he had last week, and kind of why everything I don't want to say spiraled because that is a very intense word, but why everything is the way it is today and why he's having surgery on Monday. So tomorrow, if you guys are watching this the day this is released, he is having surgery on the 9th of September. So, a few months ago, we noticed that Champ's breath changed. So he has always, he's a big dog and he gets very excited. And of course, when he gets excited, he breathes in your face. And it was never really a problem. He's never really had stinky breath. I've also always been really on top of his dental hygiene, brushing his teeth, checking his gums, like making sure to check the circulation in his mouth, things like that, because obviously he's my best friend and also I'm his caretaker, basically. Like I'm his owner. So and also I want him to be able to work for a long time. I've had Champ for almost 5 years. He'll be 7 this year, and he's always been a little slow moving and more on the calmer side, but he's never really had a problem with work. Like, he's always loved working, and anytime you ask him to work or if he wants to work, he always gets really excited and jumps up. And so around the time when his breath changed and it got really bad, without any dietary changes or any changes in routine, it was just very sudden. Around that same time, he also started getting a little bit slower. And anytime I asked him if he wanted to work, sometimes he would get really excited, and then other times he would not really get up. And so that was an indication to me that, like, oh no, he might be retiring soon. What am I going to do? Trying to figure out if, a lot of conversations happened between me and Kaz, trying to figure out if I wanted another service dog after him, when the right time was. But I wasn't trying to accelerate the process too much because he still was in a place where he said that he wanted to work sometimes. So I wasn't just immediately going to retire him. But the breath thing was a big thing. And then a few weeks ago, Champ was over at Kaz's parents' house, and Kaz's parents are basically, that is Champ's like vacation home. He loves going over to Kaz's parents' house, and they also love having him. And so he's basically going over to Grandma and Grandpa's house whenever he goes over there. They spoil him rotten. They take him on like 4 walks a day. They play with him all day long. He gets to sleep in a California king bed. Like, he is living it up over there. So he goes over there once every 2 weeks maybe and spends like a night over there, just because he really loves it. It's a time for him to like decompress. We also don't have a yard. We live in an apartment complex, Kaz and I do. So we have to put his leash and harness on to go outside. Not his working harness, but his other harness, to be able to go outside, go potty and things like that. And so when he's at Kaz's parents' house, you open the back door and let him out into the fenced backyard. And they're also both retired. So literally all I do is spoil him every day, which is great. That's amazing. And he loves it. So he goes over there once every few weeks to spend like a night or 2 over there. It gives us some time to like relax and chill out. It gives him some time to relax and chill out. And he loves it. And so when Kaz was picking him up a few weeks ago, or when we were picking him up a few weeks ago, I was there and I noticed that Champ was limping a little bit. It seemed to stem from one of his back legs. I really couldn't tell which one it was. And so I brought it up to Kaz's mom, and Kaz's mom was like, "Oh, that's really weird. He wasn't doing that this weekend when he was here. I don't know what that is." So Kaz's dad went to take him for a walk, and I said, "Hey, when you take him for a walk, just can you keep an eye on that for me, on his limping?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." So they get back from the walk, and he's like, "Yeah, he definitely is, and I think it's his back right leg." And I was like, "That's really strange." So I checked, I had Champ lay down, and I checked all of his paws to see if maybe something was like in one of his paw pads or like in between his toes. Nothing. And so, I was like kind of manhandling his legs a little bit to see, like, oh, does this hurt him? Does this hurt him? And he was not telling me anything other than, "What are you doing? Stop." But nothing seemed to be like hurting him. So I was really confused. I told Kaz about it. Kaz did the same thing I did, and he was like, "I can't see anything wrong with him. I don't see anything stuck in his feet at all." So we were like, "Okay, well, we'll keep an eye on it for the next few days. If it persists, then we'll take him to the vet." So the next day, we're at home now. We're at our house. And the next day, he stops doing it. We wake up. Everything is normal. He's done. He's never limped in his whole life. Limp? What limp? Where? So that was really concerning. I was like, "What do you mean? Like, how does this happen?" What? Okay, whatever. So I, in my head, kind of thought maybe it was because he didn't want to leave Kaz's parents' house, and he knew that when he saw us, we were going to take him home. And so he was like, "Oh, actually, I can't leave Kaz's parents' house because I'm limping. Do you see? Maybe I can't go home with you today." So we bring him home. He's fine. He doesn't do it again. Then, a few days later, he does it again. Then you give it a day, he doesn't do it. So finally, we start taking videos of it every time it happens, because I was like, okay, we do need to take him to the vet, but first, I know the second we get to the vet, he's not going to do it. So I need some like hardcore evidence to show to the vet to be like, "Hey, this is what he's doing." It's kind of like when you take your car to the mechanic. Your car's making this weird noise, so you take it to the mechanic, and then you get to the mechanic, and all of a sudden the car's not making that noise again. It's the same thing. So I was like, okay, we need to take him to the vet. So we took videos every single time he was limping, and it was the same thing. It was like he would be limping for like a day or two, and then he would limp again. We're like, that's so weird. Okay, well, let's take him to the vet. So we took him to the vet last week, and the vet took our problems very seriously. I'm very, very glad that she didn't just write us off as a young couple, paranoid about their dog. I explained that he was a service dog and what he does for me, and so she very quickly realized that this was a serious situation, because obviously I can't put his harness on and work him, or I can, but I won't, and take him out in public if he's obviously uncomfortable in his body. Like, I'm not going to do that. So that means every time I go out in public, I'm not taking him, and I'm down a mobility aid, basically. And so I explained this to the vet. The vet was like, "Okay, so this is really serious. So like, let's run some tests." So she did some basic like physical tests. She checked all the stuff that we checked, except with her medical knowledge, and she was like, "I don't feel any." She didn't feel any inflammation or swelling or anything. She also checked under his paw pads. Nothing. And so she was like, "This is so strange. Usually, if they're limping, then he will tell me where it hurts, but like, he's not telling me anything." So she had us walk up and down the hallway a few times to like check his gait. She was like, "Yeah, he's walking a little like diagonally, but he's kind of always done that." So I was like, "Yeah, that's not really concerning." But like, I showed her the videos, and she was like, "No, he's limping in those videos." And of course, the second we take him to the vet, he's not doing it, just like I said. So she was like, "No, he's really limping in those videos, so let's take some x-rays." Then I explained the breath thing to her, and she was like, okay. So she starts checking his teeth, and she gets to like the back right side of his mouth, and she's like, "Oh, it looks like there's some tartar buildup." And so she takes a paper towel, or she said, "It looks like there's some tartar on this one tooth." So she takes a paper towel, and she like goes to like wipe it off a little bit, and she goes, "Oh, it's bleeding. Do you see how that's bleeding?" And I was like, yeah. She goes, "It also looks cracked." So I think that this tooth is cracked and it needs to be taken out. And he needs to have surgery to get it taken out. She gave us two options. She said we could either just extract it, and usually dogs who have this specific tooth extracted, it's very common if there's going to be a tooth broken that it's this one, because it's like all the way in the back. And so she said that dogs who do have this tooth extracted, it doesn't affect them in the long term. Oh, Monty is making an appearance. Our cat is behind me for all those listening. He's wondering, oh, he's going crazy. Anyways, so it doesn't really affect them in the long term. She says usually like they don't have any long term issues when they take it. What are you doing? Leave me alone. Stop messing with my earbuds. So she says that taking this tooth out wouldn't really affect him at all in the long term. It just gets rid of the problem. So she was like, that would explain his stinky breath, obviously, and that would be that problem. And also she said that there might be an infection or something along those lines. So the earliest she could get him in for a dental cleaning and possible extraction is Monday. We had this appointment on Friday, I don't even know, Wednesday maybe, sometime last week. And so we had this appointment, and so she told us when she could get us in for a dental cleaning. We agreed to that date, and so she said basically what she's going to do is they do have to sedate him for x-rays of his mouth. So they're going to sedate him for x-rays. If they find that that tooth is actually not broken, then they're going to call me and be like, hey, he just needed a dental cleaning. The tooth actually does not need to be taken out, and he'll be good to go. Pick him up at this time. But if they find that the tooth is broken, they're going to extract it as per scheduled. Monty is really trying to go for my cords here. So they're going to extract it, and then they're going to check for infection. If anything else is infected, they're going to call me and be like, hey, we also need to extract X amount more teeth, because these are also infected and they need to come out. So that day at the vet, they did some x-rays on his hips and his knees, which they didn't know if they were going to be able to do with him awake, but I was like, no, he's usually pretty good with x-rays. Just have treats on hand, because this dog will do anything for food. And so they had two people in the x-ray room. They had one person kind of like positioning him, and then the other person with a bucket of treats. And so they were able to get some really, really good x-rays. They didn't find anything. No inflammation, no nothing. Or, well, I guess they can't see inflammation, but on an x-ray. But they didn't see any bones that were out of whack or anything. They said for him being almost 7 years old, his hips and his knees look phenomenal. So they don't think that's the problem. They think what's happening is that because his mouth hurts, because his tooth is cracked, they think that he is trying to tell us, hey, I'm uncomfortable, and he knows that he can't physically talk to us and be like, hey, my mouth hurts, so they think that he is compensating by giving us another physical sign, like, hey, I'm uncomfortable, help me, by limping. So they gave us an anti-inflammatory just in case. He's on that twice a day, every 12 hours. He gets an anti-inflammatory now for the next 10-ish days. And they said that if he's better after taking the anti-inflammatory and then after his mouth surgery, then that was the problem. Like, that's what was wrong. If he's not, we have to go to a specialist where it's like doggy physical therapy, basically, where they are going to try to pinpoint the muscle group that might be affecting him, and then also they're going to see if maybe he has a partial ACL tear or something is wrong with the muscles, the ligaments, something along those lines that they wouldn't be able to tell from an x-ray, and we're going to go from there. So that's why Champ needs surgery. He's gonna get the care that he needs. I'm really hoping that once we get his mouth fixed, that he doesn't need any further medical intervention, but if he does, he does. We'll take care of it. They said that the thing that might have cracked his tooth, because he doesn't gnaw on things, like he does not really chew on things. He won't rip his toys up. He doesn't destroy bones in like 0.5 seconds. The only thing that he chews on that's really, really hard is ice. So they think he might have chewed on some ice wrong one time or a few times and it cracked his tooth. So that's why he needs some surgery. That's why we are going the medical intervention route. They did give us two options, as I said earlier. They said that they can either extract it or we could go to like a dog dentist basically, and we could do like a root canal and they could put a crown on and on and on. I really made sure that by extracting the tooth, it wouldn't affect him long term, and they assured me that it wouldn't. So, I mean, if it was one of his front few teeth that was cracked, I would consider doing a root canal. But because this one's not like essential to his quality of life, I think it's best to just get it out of there, especially if it's infected. So his blood work came back. His blood work looks great. They said they don't think the tooth is infected because otherwise, if it was, his white blood cell count would be up, but it's not. So they said he looks good on that front. His blood work looks amazing. His urine test came back. That looks amazing. His x-rays look great. So the only thing is his mouth. So we're really hoping that by fixing his mouth, he's scratching now, as you can hear him. We're all really hoping that once we fix his mouth and his tooth, that will get rid of the rest of his health problems. That's the hope. So, yes, Champ needs surgery. Luckily, I'm very grateful that it is a minor surgery and it is very routine. From what I've heard, it doesn't make me any less anxious. We have to drop him off on Monday at 7:30 a.m. And then afterwards, we'll be taking him to Kaz's parents' house to kind of rest, relax away from our kitten. So obviously we'll be there to, be there to help take care of him, but that's where he's going to spend at least the few hours after his surgery, because if he's like super loopy after his surgery, he's never been under anesthesia with me, and so I don't know how he's going to react to that. So if he's super loopy afterwards, I can't really help with an 100-pound dog, so that would leave the muscle to like Kaz, and I don't feel like that's fair. So having three other, including Kaz's sister, having 3 other able-bodied adults around gives me a great peace of mind that if I need anything, they'll be able to help me and Kaz take care of him. Also, Kaz is gone for like the majority of the day on Tuesdays, so it's just better if both of us stay at Kaz's parents' house and just, until if Champ is having a rough time on Monday night, then I'm going to make the executive decision and have us all stay, have somebody watch the kitten, one of our neighbors or something, and then have all 3 of us stay at Patty and Gordon's house to just relax and have Champ heal the best he can. But yeah, that's why my service dog needs surgery. So exciting. My life is we're always doing something, aren't we? So if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm going to try not to be on social media a whole lot on Monday, the day of his surgery, so that I can really be present and be helping with whatever I need to be. I have never been through this level of medical intervention with him, so it makes me pretty nervous, but I have hope that everything will be fine, and if it's not, then I have a lot of help to help both of us. A lot of physical support, a lot of mental health support, things like that. So I have hope that everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be great. We have a great support system here, and we also have great pet insurance, so that's amazing. But if you would like to help me out financially, I will leave my Venmo in the description as well as. Merch and all the rest, because I do get some proceeds for that. And this dog, he cost me about $1,000 on the day that his first vet appointment was on, and then his surgery and everything involving that is going to cost about $1,300. So that is going to be about $2,300 that after it's all said and done, which is basically a little bit less than our rent. So if you want to help us out financially, please do, but by no means don't feel obligated, please, because we're okay. But yeah, it's a little stressful. We're going to be fine. But thank you so much for watching and listening today. Please make sure to like, subscribe, comment, give me a 5-star rating depending on where you're watching or listening from. Please make sure to go check out my merch, which is in the in the description below. Go follow me on all my other social media, because I do post on Facebook and Instagram Reels and TikTok and YouTube Shorts every single day. I also have a YouTube vlog out on Wednesdays. I will be vlogging this experience, so that will come out this week, so that everybody's kind of updated in somewhat real time of what's happening with Champy. And I will try to keep everybody as updated as possible throughout the whole experience. So yeah, make sure to like, follow, subscribe, all the rest, and I will see you next time. Bye.